So I have a picture here of the Berlin Wall, and I show this for a couple of important reasons. I've heard that after the wall came down, some of the people who'd been so cruelly imprisoned for so long, in such cruelty, right, in such terrible tyranny in East Berlin, in East Germany, they said, you know what we realize now? We realize that if instead of asking, hey, when will this come down, or is it possible for this to come down, if we had just said, we will make this come down, we could have done it. We could have gotten a few of us together, maybe 50, maybe 100, maybe 20, and we could have busted through a guard station, even though we weren't armed, and we could have overpowered a single guard station, and we could have taken it from there, and some of us would have made it to freedom. But what would the cost of that have been? Some of them would have died. They would have been shot to death. Not just a possibility, absolutely people would have been shot to death. But if enough of them together had decided they were willing to risk that, and some of them actually pay the price, then the others could have made it to liberty. They could have secured the blessings of liberty a little bit earlier, and gotten that wall down. And that's important for us to remember, because people ask me all the time, well, is it really possible we could pass constitutional carry? You know what? If everybody who asked me that question would just show up when it mattered, we would have already passed it. So what kind of person are you going to be? Are you going to be the kind of person who sits around waiting for somebody else to do the job and saying, well, could we ever do it? Or are you going to be the kind of person who just goes and does it? But second, what's the price right now? What's the price of showing up at a committee hearing and giving your opinion on record? The price is a little bit of time and a little bit of money. And it might feel like a lot of time and a lot of money. It's driving to Austin. Maybe you live in the Valley. Maybe you live in East Texas or out in Lubbock, and it's 6, 7, 8 hours to drive in. Okay. So yeah, that's a long drive. You have to sit, get there early and be there all day, and maybe wait out for a 15-hour hearing maybe, and then drive back, and it's gas money, and it's wear and tear on car, and it's childcare, and it's meals. So yeah, that's an investment, and I'm not forgetting that's an investment and a time effort, time and money. But when you compare that with the risk of, or the certainty of getting shot to death, doesn't that seem like a small price to pay? And if we're not willing to pay the price of a little bit of time and a little bit of money right now, showing up when it matters for the things that we claim we care about, do we really care about those things? And if we're not going to do it now, what are we waiting for? Are you waiting for the time when you will be shot to death for showing up? Are you waiting for the time when more liberties are taken away, and then all of a sudden you'll be willing to spend time and money? Think about it. What is your answer to that question? But the bottom line is we can do these things if enough people are willing to pay the price of standing up to make it happen. With that, let's jump into TLO. This is your lifeline. It's Texas Legislature Online, capital.texas.gov. And I have a few screenshots, actually a couple screenshots that I'm going to just jump right into the live website. If you're not following every single thing I'm doing here, that's fine. The main point here is not to memorize where you click to get exactly the right thing, but to get an understanding that, hey, if I want this information, here's where I go to find it. If I'm wondering, hey, what's happening in the committee hearing right now? Oh yeah, I can go to TLO and click there, and I can watch the video. If you're wondering what bills have been filed for gun rights or for property taxes or for municipal annexation or for life or homeschool, whatever issues you care about, okay, you can go search for those bills. If you wonder what's happening right now with HB 357 constitutional carry, you can go look that up. If you're wondering what your legislator has signed on to, you can go look that up. All of that information is available at capital.texas.gov. So in fact, let's just jump right in to that. Let's see here. I need to get rid of my chat window. Nope. Okay. And sorry, I'm working with my, there, get rid of my chat window. Now I can see what you're doing. All right, so we're going to go to capital.texas.gov. And here's a website. At the top right, you'll see a login or logout button. You want to go there first and click that. If it's your first time, it'll ask you for a You can actually go sign up for an account, just give them your email address and create a password. Give them your real email address. Do not give them a fake email address, because this is where your important alerts go. They never send spam. They just never do. They only send what you ask for. So once you've done that, take a look at what this page has. So obviously a normal website has all these menus at top. But what's on the front page? You have quick links over here on the left for the House and for the Senate. You can see a lot of items there. Just a quick look. I mean, you can see the members and the committees and the meetings. You can go to the current amendment and see specific text, usually, of amendments being offered. You can go to journals. If you're wondering, hey, who voted which way on this issue, or was there, I think, in what order were amendments, and did amendments happen? This is their record. This is like their minutes of what happened on the House floor or down here on the Senate floor. You can look up the journal from decades ago. You can look all that information up. So that's always great. Okay, in the middle we have a search pane. We're going to come back to that in a minute. On the right side here you have legislative activity. This is everything happening today. So again, if I can move this window, too many webinar windows up. Okay, so if you click over here, you click on House for video broadcasts. There we go. There's currently nothing happening today. If there was something happening today, you'd click there. But again, on Tuesday at noon and Wednesday probably at 10, you can come click here, click House, and you'll be able to see the video of the House proceedings on that first day. You can go look at committee broadcasts. Again, nothing happening currently, but you can look at the archives. You can scroll all the way back for the past couple of years. You can even go to previous sessions. See all these sessions up here all the way back to the 77th session. So we're currently in the we're moving it, this will be the 86th session, just to give you an idea. So you can look at the date of the hearing, and then the name of the hearing, and click there, and this is what the video looks like. This is just a random one I'm pulling up, but this is what your video looks like. I don't know if you can see the pop-up. I'm not sure how that works, so I'll close it out. But anyway, that's how you get to the videos. Same thing for the Senate. It looks a little different, but the same basic idea. You can see all the committees, all the House proceedings, current live stream as well as past video archives. Same thing for the calendars, bills being heard today, bills that were filed today. Nothing was filed today because they're not open for business today on a Saturday for filing bills, but normally you can see that as well. Okay, let's take a look at the search pane. So if I go to bill number, I say, hey, I want to look up HB 357, which I happen to know is the constitutional carry bill. This time around, yep, here it is. It was filed on 11/14/2018, 2 days after filing session happened. I can add it to a bill list over here of, hey, this is a bill that I'm interested in. You won't get alerts just by adding it to a list, but you can create your list that way, and look up who's on it right now, just Stickland, but you'll see more co-authors being added. So that's how you get to that. But what if you don't know a bill number off the top of your head? Okay, let's say I want to go see again, you have all these sessions, right, back to 1989. So let's see, in 2017, that would be the 85th regular session. Okay, not 85-1, that was a special session, but 85R, the regular session. In 2017, I want to look for a certain thing, but you know what? I don't want just a simple search here. I'm going to go to a more complicated text search. So again, I'm going to pull up from 85R any bill that has the words handgun, firearm, or knife. I'm going to click search. And this is over here. It's our knife bill. Notice there are 398 matches. That's partly because there are multiple versions of bills. Okay, so over here you see the enrolled version. That's the final version of this bill. This is the Senate committee report version, so what came after the Senate committee, and sometimes these can be different. The House committee report, the introduced version, etc. So what I'm going to do is back up and say, okay, let's look at just the introduced bills. So how many introduced bills were there? And let's search for that. There were, whoops, let's look up the words. Handgun, firearm, knife. There were 223 bills with handgun, firearm, or knife. You see you have our knife bill here, which related to the carrying of knives. That was a great repeal bill that passed. Over here you see HB 375, which was last session's constitutional carry bill. And so if I want more information here, I click the little Texas icon and click history, and then voila, I'm right there on a bill. So again, this was from last time, and the reason I'm showing it to you as opposed to this time's bill is so you can see a little more information. You can see all the joint authors at the top who joined by invitation. Then you see the co-authors. These people joined because they decided to. Anybody, any House member can co-author any other bill. They decide, hey, I'm going to put my name on it. That is a show of support. When you talk to your legislators, you need them to sign on to the bill. You don't want them to tell you, hey, yeah, if it gets to the floor, it'll have my support. Because guess what? They might have a buddy in the room next door or down the hall who's going to make sure that bill doesn't get out of committee. He's going to make sure it doesn't get to the floor. So it doesn't do you any good if your rep has committed to supporting it. If it makes it to the floor, you need them to put their name on it, and they can do that. This is the committee it's in. These are all the actions. So it was filed, again, in November. It had first reading in February. That's the middle of February. That's when it was referred to a committee, again, referred to Homeland Security, Public Safety, middle of February. So almost probably 5 weeks after session started. About 6 weeks later, it actually had its hearing. So that's the end of March. That's like basically 3 months, almost 2.5 months at least into session, into a 5-month session. It finally got it finally had its hearing in the first chamber. And then that was the last thing that happened. They had testimony taken, a couple hundred people showed up for it, and it was left pending in committee, and it never actually got a vote to get out of this committee. Let's take a look at the committee now. Notice I just clicked the committee name there, but if you want to go to a specific committee, just click the committees tab up here. And you can go to meetings that by a certain date, membership, upcoming meetings, meetings by committee. Let's go to the House. Here are all the House committees. Go to Homeland Security, Public Safety, and then I pull up the information on that. So at the bottom, there are 3 different tabs within a committee. It's bills in and out of committee and membership. And then what we're looking at now is the meetings. And if I click on any one of the others, I can see those plus the other 2 links at the bottom. So here are the current members. That will be changing next week or after the new speaker gives the new committee assignments. Let's take a look at the meetings. Okay, so these are all the meetings that happened throughout the last session. They typically met on Tuesday mornings at 8 a.m. That was kind of their norm. And they would post a hearing notice. Again, you get that about 3 days in advance. This is what the hearing notice looked like for constitutional carry. It had the name of the committee, the time, the place, the chairman, and the place is a room number inside of the Capitol. And I have a map of the Capitol later that tells you how to get there, so don't worry about that for right now. But E2 it's the extension undergrounds. And it says the committee will meet to consider pending business. That typically means voting other bills out of committee. And they're going to hear public testimony on these 2 bills. Sometimes, if it is smaller bills, they don't think as many people are going to show up, they might have a whole lot more bills. You can see over here, all of these bills were heard during the same hearing. So those, again, would move a lot quicker because fewer people would actually show up for them because they're considered smaller bills. The witness list. So after the hearing, they post minutes, which aren't super informative, and they post a witness list of all the witnesses who showed up to testify in favor. These are the people who testified for. These are the people who testified against, and then on. These are the people who showed up. They showed up and registered their opinion, but they didn't actually speak. It's all of these people over here. And then all these people showed up against it and registered their opinion against it. So you see a lot of them. This is a major, major hot button issue last time, and so on and so forth. So that's what the witness list looks like. You want to make sure your name shows up on that list, because that's when you're invited to give your testimony, your opinion on public record. Let's see. That's pretty much what I wanted to go through about committees. Again, if you have more committee questions, you can always just click that committee button. You can see all sorts of nerdy committee information. A couple more things I have to show you on TLO, and then I will take any questions about using TLO, using this website. So to set your bill list and get alerts, you go to My TLO, and then we go to alerts, and we're going to go to bills. And I need to log in here. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go right back to my presentation because I have screenshots of this that'll kind of show you. So moving through. Okay, so you go to the My TLO, then you go to the alerts. This is what a bill alert list looks like. So what you do is you have your own personal list of, hey, here are the bills that I care about. Maybe I like them, maybe I don't, but for some reason I care about them and I want to know whenever anything happens on them. And so you insert the bill number, so HB space and then the number, or SB, the space and the number. HB stands for House Bill. SB stands for Senate Bill. And then you can put in your comments. I just like to do that so I know it's my personal reminder of, oh yeah, this bill number does this thing. And then you click Add Bill and you click Save. And you can do the same thing pretty much for the committee notices. If you see right over here in the second tab over, it says Committee Notices. You can decide you want to get, for example, calendars committee notices, or you can check them all and get notices of whenever these meetings are happening. So what actually happens when you sign up for notices? Well, if I asked for updates on HB 357, the constitutional carry bill, I would get an email whenever anything happens on the bill. So obviously it's already been filed, so what's next? It's going to be assigned to a committee. So that's first reading, referred to a committee, and then the committee chairman will eventually schedule it, hopefully for a hearing, and that hearing happens, and then hopefully he brings it up as pending business, or it gets moved on to the calendars committee. Hopefully the calendars committee moves it out. So I would get an email anytime any of these things happens. Or if I just want a committee notice, then I get an email anytime anytime my committee of choice has scheduled a meeting. And typically that'll be a 3-day notice, but sometimes we get lucky, we get a little bit more, or we work hard and we get a little bit more. And that's basically what I have to show you about TLO, but I think we have a question. So what do we have there?
I see no questions at the moment on this.
Nope. Okay, cool.
Now, is there, I haven't signed on to that. Is there there's an email alert? Is there a way to receive text message alerts on that as well?
They do not have text message alerts, no.
Okay. Empower Texas had a text link which I have not tried yet. I'll put that up, the link on the chat if anybody's interested and wants to try it. But supposedly
a lot of organizations will have text alerts. That's whenever the organization decides that something within their purview, something they care about, is moving, and so they will go send out a text alert system, which is good. So if there's an organization you line up with, by all means sign up for those text alerts. And GOA, I will be doing text alerts with for us here in Texas as well. But even if you're doing that, it's really important to also get these TLO notices, because the organizations, like when I send out text alerts, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the email from TLO, then I have to go write up my alert, and then I have to send it. You're ahead of the curve if you're already getting the notices from TLO about what you care about.